Hey everybody, welcome back to the Up and Adam Show. Thank you guys all for tuning in once again. Guys, it is hot in here. It's hot as hell. But I had to rep and support the 90s by wearing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air sweater. Look at this, guys. I just got it today, made by an amazing store in Vaughan Mills, which is a mall in my area. And the store is called T-Shirt Time. And guys, if you are a 2000s kid, late 90s, early 2000s kid, you'll know what T-Shirt Time is. T-shirt time from Jersey Shore, guys. Come on. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. But guys, without further ado, let's get right into this week's episode. We got two amazing guests. The Bad Batch is off this week, but they're back next week for another conspiracy theory. Before we get into the episode, guys, I wanted to give you guys an exclusive sneak peek, and you guys saw it here first on the Up and Adam Show. I just got this album in last week by the amazing Frank Stallone. Frank, if you're watching this, shout out to you and this amazing album. Far From Over, which is his hit single on here. Many other great songs in here too. Run In, Music Is Magic, Love Is Like a Light, Darling. Amazing songs, guys. And we are actually getting Frank Stallone on the Up and Adam Show and the Hardcore Italians podcast. Me and Mike, my good friend, will be having the pleasure of speaking with him. So guys, you guys heard it here first, the Up and Adam Show. Now, guys, this week we have two amazing guests, like I mentioned earlier. I want to give a special thanks and shout out to Espada PR, Camille and Jasmine. Thank you guys so much for hooking up these two amazing guests for the show. So guys, let me introduce the guys to you. So first guest I had the pleasure of speaking with, Alejandro De Hoyos. He is a producer, an actor, and he's an entrepreneur. This guy does it all, and he's amazing at what he does. He actually executive produced a movie called The Contractor, or in Spanish, El Contratista. Amazing movie. The movie did very well. You guys can stream it on Amazon Prime if you'd like. And, please support. He's a very great actor, and the movie is great. He's also co-starring Kevin Hart in the new upcoming movie next year called The Man from Toronto. You guys are going to love it. And guys, being from Toronto, I can't wait to watch it. So that's going to be a great film to watch. Also, guys, make sure you stay tuned after the interview. Me and Luke are joined by the amazing director, the Latino director, Miguel Angel Ferrer. He's great, guys, at what he does. And again, guys, this whole episode is Latino inspired. Again, Alejandro's Latino, Miguel's Latino. So I wanted to keep it kind of in that same cohesive theme this week. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Miguel actually directed the upcoming film Demonica, which is going to be great. He had to put his life on the line, guys. When I tell you he had to put his life on the line to make this movie, I'm not joking around. His passport, it's funny because his passport is when he was really young, so it doesn't even look like him anymore. So it's expired, right? So he couldn't get through to film in Colombia, right? So he had to cross the border on foot to do this movie, and it's dangerous, through like dangerous grounds essentially to film this. So talking with him, again, Miguel and Alejandro, they're not so different, guys. They're very similar at what they do because they're both risk takers and they're both amazing at what they do. But besides that, again, going back to the entrepreneurial thing, they really understand what it means to follow your dreams. They know that, like Miguel knew that he had to make this movie. He knew that he loved the script. He had a vision for it. When you have a vision for something, you don't let anything get in your way. And that's exactly what he did, essentially. Can I do it? Definitely not. But guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And again, it's great speaking with these people. And it's great speaking with people from all kinds of backgrounds and different artists, different actors, celebrities, you name it. It's great to talk with everybody in this industry. That's how you make good connections, and that's how you make good friends. So again, thank you to Camille and Jasmine from Espada PR. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the show. Alejandro De Hoyos, how are you, my man? Thanks for joining me on the show today.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for inviting me to this.
Oh, of course, man. It's an absolute pleasure. I told you I was talking to Camille, and she was so nice. So you work with some great people, and
She's great.
She's the best. Yeah, and I must say, because we were talking right before we recorded, I was telling you about my studio setup, and I said that you look amazing and stuff, and I can see why they picked you as the Latino James Bond, because you look like so GQ, man. It looks awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Oh my God! But how you doing?
It's kind of hot here in LA, so just.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, it's we're finally getting some decent weather here, but I live in Toronto, so it's not the most ideal place for weather. I'll tell you that.
I was there in November, so it was very cold.
Yeah. Oh, we have winter for about I would say about like 7 months out of the whole year we have winter.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
definitely not a definitely not a good place.
wouldn't be able to live there.
At least in Canada, we're known for being nice. So at least hopefully you enjoy talking to me. I seem to be a nice guy.
Well, let's see. Let's find out.
We'll find out after. We'll find out soon. But anyways, I want to thank you again for being on the show today. And you know, when I was doing my research about you and I was reading up on a lot of the things you do, you're not only just an actor, but you're a businessman. And I took a liking to that because I'm 22. And when you were 22, actually, you actually managed Mexico City's largest private nightclub, and it was called the Magic Circus. Sorry about that. Yeah. And I wanted to talk about that because you know I'm kind of an entrepreneur myself, and I wanted to know, were you always like an ambitious person growing up, an ambitious kid, and did you always like to do things on your own, being independent?
Yeah, yeah. At an early age, when you live in Mexico, sometimes even if your parents have, what we could say, if they have money to give you something, for you to buy something, every time you ask, "Hey, can I have this?" The answer is usually, "There's no money.
Yeah.
There's no money for this. There's no money for that." So when I was 12, I got a job at a supermarket, packing groceries and stuff,
Mhm.
and they would tip you, and you could make a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And my dad didn't know, so only my mom knew. So after school, I want to have my own money. So I didn't want to hear there's no money for this. So I would buy my own things and I would bring stuff to the house.
Yeah.
Special things that were special to me at the time, like ham or cookies, that normally,
Mm.
you know. So so I started at a very early age. On one occasion, I wanted to go to Disneyland with the school, the whole school in Mexico. So you need to get a special permit ahead of time. And I asked my dad, "Hey, Dad, the whole school is going to go to Disneyland. Can I go?" And what did he say? "There's no money for that."
No money.
I said, "Dad, I have money." It's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I have money." So
Oh.
I could just see him a little upset because I had gotten a job, but at the same time, I could see that he was proud of me for.
Yeah, it's a big accomplishment to do that stuff. You know, I started this show, and this is like my passion, right? And I know how it is to, and obviously you know all about this, right? About starting something on your own and going through struggles and learning essentially from mistakes that you make along the way, because nothing you do in life is going to be perfect, especially a lot of the entrepreneurial stuff we do in life. If there's no hardships, like nothing comes easy is the point I'm trying to make, right? So
That's right.
especially being in in Mexico with no money, you were saying the fact that you had that ambition in you, it really shows your true character, which again, now you own multiple businesses now, you own multiple. And I guess, how did this all lead into acting after? Because you started acting in your late 20s, early 30s. Was this something that you were always passionate about? I read that you loved movies growing up, and I guess that kind of transpired into acting eventually, right?
I always love. I used to go with my younger brother to watch a triple feature in Ensenada, Mexico, where I'm from,
Yeah.
and we just love movies, funny movies, horror movies, anything. So we would be there, for a long time, just
Yeah.
my brother enjoying that. So yeah, I always liked it. But it was not cool to say that you wanted to be an actor. When I was growing up, it
How
was
come?
like because people make fun of you. So when you're growing up, when you're 15 and 14, and you say, "Hey, I would like to be an actor," they're like, "Yeah, right, yeah, ha ha," and then they start teasing you. So
Uh,
you just keep it quiet, and then you start doing other things, go to school, and then I started doing business at a very early age.
yeah.
Doing promotions since I was 18. I was doing martial arts tournaments and promotions. So I always like to do my own thing. I was working. I had jobs, but at the same time, I would always be doing something on the side, not not just depending on a specific job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always like the idea of creating my own income.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's not good to work. I mean, it's great to work, and you'll learn a lot when you're working for somebody. And what you'll learn is that you don't want to be working for somebody else.
Well, you know what's so funny about that? See, this is why I feel we're gonna have a great conversation, a great time today together, because we do have a lot of things in common. I actually only in my whole life, I've only worked for one company, okay, and it was Denny's. I used to work at a Denny's, and I was a chef there, and it was terrible. I hated working for people. I hated being told what to do. But you know what the thing is, and it's not to say I have an ego like, oh, I don't want to work for somebody because I'm better. It's not because of that. It's because I want to use my skills to the full potential, right? For example, I love talking to people. I love acting, performing. So I thought to myself, how can I make that into like a career, or how can I make that into something that I can make it real? So I started this podcast, right? And this show. So essentially, and you could probably relate to this as well. Like, you want to, it's not even just about not working for somebody. It's about using your skills to the full potential, because otherwise, like there's a famous quote by Robert De Niro's character in A Bronx Tale. You've seen that movie, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Great movie. And he says to Lito Brancato's character, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. So that really kind of like touches me, and like I can really resonate with that quote. I'm sure you can relate to it as well. But do you kind of agree with that fact that, putting your skills into something that you like is the most important thing?
Yeah, well, yes, in a way, because we don't know the level of our skills, right?
Yeah.
So the trap with that is that we might think that we are skilled enough or very skilled to do something, but in reality, we need a little more training. And I always say, prepare, train.
I really like that. One thing that really resonated me with what you said was that you don't like to be treated as a boss, more like a teammate, right? Now, I used to work for a barber shop. I was a barber back in the day, a couple years ago before the pandemic happened. And
you've done everything.
I done it. Barbering,
chef, barber.
Yeah.
That I haven't done.
Sorry?
The barber stuff I haven't done.
Oh yeah, but hey, one day if I come down to where you are, I'll give you a nice haircut. Look, it looks like you don't even need a good haircut. You look fantastic as it is.
Thanks.
So what happened was my boss, my ex boss he was the complete opposite from how you are. He never like at the end of the day, just because someone's in charge, it's always good to take advice. Like as an employee, I had good advice. I had good opinions and stuff. Everybody's opinion matters. We're a team, right? Collectively. He never liked that. He had this big ego, like, oh, whatever I say goes. No, we talk about like I'm older than you, this, that. First off, age doesn't mean anything. You could talk to someone 50 years old, and I can be 22, and they may know less about something that and I may know more than them, right? So there's a famous picture that I saw. It's like a cartoon picture. It's about these guys pulling a crate or something like that. And there's the boss on top. He's giving them orders like, go, keep going, pushing. And then the leader is a picture of a leader, and it's him in the front, and he's pushing with everybody else, and he's saying, come on, guys, we got to do it. So as a leader, you got to be willing, quote unquote, to take the hits and to kind of help your team to progress them forward. So I really like how you're like that as a person. It really, that just shows that you're a good person, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just what I have learned. I guess I learned that at an early age when I've been working since I was 12, and then, then I was going to school, and then more full time when I was 16.
Yeah.
So the clubs at an early age, because I was tall. So in Mexico, when you're 18, you're an adult. So basically,
I'm short. I'm Italian, and Italians are not that known for being tall. I'm 5'6", and I'm pretty skinny too. So I'm done growing, obviously, but I can't relate to you being tall. I can't relate, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. But I want to talk about your movies and stuff too, And so from all this entrepreneurial stuff, again, I talked about you became an actor in like your early 30s, late 20s, right? And not 30. Only, yeah, and not only did you become an actor, but you ended up executive producing a movie called El Contratista, which is the contractor, that you were the lead role in. And I saw the trailer on it. I've seen parts of the movie when Camille sent it, and it looks fantastic. It's amazing, and no problem. And I want to know your role as an executive producer. I'm not too familiar with like behind the scenes roles. So do you prefer? First of all, my first question for you is: do you prefer being in front of the camera or more behind the scenes? Like, what have you like being on both sides? What do you prefer better?
Well, let me just say something. I don't want to elongate this question, but so I can tell you where I'm coming from. A while back, I thought I was just a businessman. You know, all my life I'm a businessman. I like business, this, that. But then recently, meaning a few years ago, I
Yeah.
realized that I'm a very artistic person. I like to fix things. I like to create. I love architecture. I remodel houses. So I have a lot of that in me. So, so I like both. To answer your question, do I like the producing or the acting? Um, I discovered with acting that it's something that I really enjoyed. When I when I have booked some stuff, I have enjoyed it a lot. Um, I don't want to sound pompous, but I don't do it for the money. You know, the money is good, you know, obviously,
Yeah.
but my goal is to continue working because I enjoy the parts or what I'm doing. So for El Contratista, as an executive producer, of course, I came up with the money out of my pocket, which was a huge risk, a huge craziness, you know.
Of course.
But I wanted to do it because I don't like to just say, oh, we should do this, we should do that. I used to go to auditions and all the Latinos that I was auditioning with, I would always hear saying, hey, you know, they don't hire us. They only want white guys for this. And one day I said, well, let's just do our own thing. You know, why are we waiting for somebody to hire us? You know, we can,
Let's make it our own. Yeah.
yeah, we can produce, we can direct, we can act. You know, why not do it? And then from there I said, well, why don't I do it? So that's how I decided to produce this movie that a friend of mine had written, Jojo Henriksen, the director.
Yeah.
So when you ask me about the part of the executive producer, well, it's not just the money, but then I was the producing company also because I hired a team here in LA to help me produce it physically, and we hired a team between them,
Yeah.
and I hired a team in Mexico and Ensenada. So I was doing the producing along with them. I was making all the decisions. They would show me what needed to be done, what the options were, the actors. I chose all the actors. I made all those decisions. So I was producing with lots of help from the team here and the team in Ensenada. So they also helped me. I didn't have to worry about the little things, all the little details while we were shooting, because I'm focusing on the character.
That's awesome.
And initially, I wasn't going to play the main character. I was just going to produce. But my friend Jojo kept saying, Alex, you know, you would be perfect for that character. And I said, I'm too busy. I'm running 9 companies. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I don't have time. And then one day, I guess we looked at a few actors, and they wanted too much money,
Yeah.
And they said, you should do it. And then I said, okay, I'll do it, but you have to direct it, because he was just going to be the writer. We were also looking for a director. I'll act in it, and you have to direct it because it's your story. He had directed me in other projects, so I knew he would do great. And that's how it happened.
Wow, that's a great
So
story.
we combined producing. We did the post-production ourselves also,
Holy, you see, what's so crazy about that? Like when after hearing all that, before this, I would have never thought that producing something had all that work into it. I always just assumed that, oh, when you produce something, you just have to kind of you're giving the money for it, right, to help get the project going. But I never knew that you had to kind of like have all these other tasks as well. You have to really, you really do have to produce everything. You got to get actors, you got to give the direction to some things, you got to work with a team, you got to get all these decisions. So it's a lot of work. And this the contractor, El Contratista, was that a part of your production company, Alta California? Was that like a part of that?
Yes. I opened Alta California to produce this film. Yeah. And like I said, when I hired the producing team here in LA, it's interesting. It was a good learning experience for me because even though I have produced events in Mexico many, many years ago for singers, performers, and martial arts, I had never produced a movie. So it's interesting because when I hired this team of production here in the United States, So somehow they became the producers, but in reality they were producers for hire because I hired them to help me
So
produce.
there's
And
levels.
they
There's
did
levels.
yeah, and they did an excellent job producing. You know what they did? They did all the dirty work. Which is getting this, getting that, getting them for me so I can approve this or approve that. Which without them, I wouldn't have been able to do it, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's how I learned that, like you're saying, the different levels of producing or executive producing is not just okay. Here's the money. No, no, no. I was very involved from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Isn't it funny how things happen in life though? Because again, you were talking about at first with your team, like, oh, we got to find actors, we got to find someone to hire us, this, that, to produce this. And the fact that you took things into your own hands, again, that entrepreneurial mindset, Alta California wouldn't have even been a thing if you didn't take the initial step, that risk to say, I want to produce this now.
Yeah,
So
of course.
it's cool how things happen in life like that. Again, going back to me when I was a barber, I quit barbering when the pandemic happened and I took a leap of faith, changed career paths, did everything. And I'm telling you right now, if that never happened, I wouldn't even be talking to you today.
Yeah, and then again, you're an individual, so you're doing this by yourself. I'm sure you have a team,
Yeah.
but for me, in order to manage all the companies, and in this case, the movie, I needed a team. You need a team that can do things better than you. So this team in LA and the team in Mexico, they could do things better than I can because they have been doing it. They have done other projects, so that's why I hired them. To help me. If
Yeah.
I hire somebody here for one of my companies, I'm going to get somebody who knows more than I do about specific business, so they can be able to run it. I
Absolutely.
still make the decisions, but they're running it. They're running the day-to-day operations.
That's very cool, man. That's awesome. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad has his own accounting business. My mom has her own aesthetic spa, which does facials and everything. My brother has his own mortgage business. My sister's a makeup artist and esthetician. Like I come from a family in that, and they always tell me that, like, it's tough because they're not. Parents sometimes don't understand, especially my parents. They're a little older. They're in their early 60s because I have older siblings, right? So they don't understand all the technology and stuff. When I tell them I want to be on YouTube making money or like do my podcast, they go, "Oh, I YouTube. Like, how you gonna do that?" So, but they understand now, and I explain it. They go, just keep going and keep chasing it.
You're 22, right?
Yeah,
I have four boys, from 28, 26, 21, and 19. So they have different levels of communicating, and understanding life. But what I tell them is that I am a firm believer that you need to mix youth with experience, which is technology with experience. I do believe that right now, having experience is not enough, life experience, if you don't have the technology to go with it. But at the same time, this is where I think there's a problem with this. Uh, Young people, in this case you or my sons or whatever, sometimes believe that because of all the technology and all the availability to information that you have, that now you're much better off than somebody that has the experience. And what I tell them is all the technology in the world is not going to do anything if you don't get up and if you don't show up at your 10 o'clock appointment.
yes,
Those are basic principles. If
yes,
you tell somebody, I'm going to be there, and you're not there, I don't care how much technology you have. You're not applying basic principles that exist and have existed, since the beginning of time.
yeah,
So that's extremely important. Don't just depend on technology and
yeah.
forget about the experience. If you do this might happen. You're like, no, 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 no. It's technology.
I want to get into some of your new films though coming up.
Yes.
You have two great ones. I want to talk about first The Man from Toronto, and we're actually just speaking about Toronto, how it's such a cold place, but that movie is gonna be amazing. It's co-starring Kevin Hart, Woody Harrelson, Alan Barkin. So gonna be a fantastic movie. You want to tell us a little bit about that, like the project,
Yeah.
working with these amazing actors?
Yeah. I'm so excited about it because talking about me, my acting, I have been acting since I was in my early 30s. So I've done 200 commercials. I've done some plays, some TV, film, but I have never been that involved in the acting. It's always been like on the side. So I
Yeah,
was I was my family, my boys were growing up, so I was very focused on them, and then also my companies were growing up. So when I did the production, I had a little more freedom. Since the production, then I finally got a theatrical agent. For those who don't know, there's the commercial agent that just focuses on commercials, and theatrical, so movie, TV, or theater, or whatever. So since the theatrical agent, now I have a manager and a publicist. Now I'm working a lot more. Now I feel like I'm more focused on the acting as opposed to before that I was just doing it on the side.
Oh,
So then I auditioned. With the pandemic, everything was you send a tape, and then that's how you have an audition. You don't go to the casting office anymore. So I sent my tape, and I didn't think much of it. You just do it and send it. And 3-4 weeks later, they say, Alex, they want you to be in the Men from Toronto. They want you to play this guy. And I'm like, oh, which one was that? And so I go and look it up, and then I see I see who the actors are, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious? I was very, very excited. It's not that I feel like, oh, stars. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in stars. I believe in humans, people.
yes.
But it was exciting to work with those people, the caliber of their talent. Woody Harrelson, I've always admired. Ellen Barkin, Kevin Hart, all those people.
Yeah.
And there are other, Leila Lauren. I didn't work with Kaylee Cuoco, but she's in the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it was very exciting to get booked. I was 2 weeks in quarantine, because
Yeah.
as you know, Canada is like that. You have to go for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And,
it's a little bit too much, but yeah, it's a little too strict.
well, but that's what happened. I was there all by myself, which was good. I lost 10 pounds. Not that I wanted to, but I was cooking, eating
Yeah.
good stuff myself, just by myself. So, and then I shot the film for about a week, and it was amazing. The director, was amazing. Patrick Hughes, um, uh, great guy. I mean, as soon as I got there, he's like, "Hey, Alex, we're so happy." He's Australian, happy
That's
to
amazing.
see you. Kevin Hart also shook hands, gave me a hug. Woody
Hey,
was a
hey,
little more
Alex.
respectful.
Alex, how's it going, man? He talks like that, He's so funny. He's that cool little accent to him.
It was cool. So it was, yeah, it was a good team. Ellen Barkin, they were all. Everybody was very. It's like, even though the movie was a very, very big budget, the team felt like, hey, we're here to work.
Yeah, work. You feel like a family, feel like friends. I'm actually gonna put a picture up. You can't see it right now, but when my producer edits it, it's a picture of you actually, the black and white picture with you, Kevin Hart, and a couple of the other actors as well. And you guys all look great. It's so cool. And
Yeah, we were shooting, and then they were changing sets or something, and one of the sets was a room with a bed, so we all sat, on the floor, just chilling. And Kevin comes, and he gets in bed, and he's like, goes like that, and that's when they took the picture. He's in bed.
Yeah, he's the best. That's so funny.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
no, great experience. I'm very, very excited about that movie.
that's awesome.
It's going to be really funny. Well, you can read the story. It's about Woody and Kevin. And one is the biggest assassin in the world. The other one is, I guess, not very, lucky with things.
I'm guessing that's Kevin Hart's character, though. That's the way.
So something happens. There's a confusion where he's supposed to go to an Airbnb, and he goes to the wrong address where the biggest assassin, the man from Toronto, was supposed to go.
Wow.
So something happens, and now everybody thinks there's some confusion.
Yeah.
And the whole movie is about that confusion. And I play.
That's gonna be hysterical.
I play the
I
bad
can't
guy.
wait. I can't wait for that. It premieres January 14, 2022. So everybody that's watching now, keep a lookout for that. My man Alex is gonna be in it.
They were going to release it in September worldwide, but then
COVID and stuff.
I guess they wanted to wait, because I've been reading the trades. They wanted to wait until the pandemic is a little more under control. So January 14, Martin Luther King's weekend.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to go to the screening. I don't know where they're going to have it. I was just with Patrick, recording some voiceover, ADR for. They wanted to add a couple of lines for the movie, so I was able to see on a big screen,
Oh wow.
the performance, and it looks amazing. It looks
Oh,
great.
I'm so excited when it comes out. Hey, when it
Exciting.
comes out, I'm definitely gonna tell you my thoughts on it for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you have
So
another movie coming out as well called Free Dead or Alive.
I have a movie. It's again, things are happening. I guess once you focus on things start to happen. I
Nice
just had come back.
snowball effect. Yeah.
I had come back from Toronto, and I actually before Free Dead, I did. I think you should leave with Tom Robinson on Netflix. He
Oh
has
yes, yes, yeah,
yeah, it's a
yeah.
comedy.
He
It's a
was
bunch
on
of skits, very short.
he was on SNL, right?
Um, I'm so, yeah, he was. Yeah,
Yes,
he
yeah.
was there. Yeah. So apparently the show is very successful, and so this is the second season. And yeah, they hired me right away to play one of the skits. So I'm in season 2, episode 2, and I'm the very, very first skit. So
Wow,
it's
that's awesome. I'm gonna pull up a clip right now. People can watch too. I'm gonna pull up a clip
yeah,
for you.
very, very short. And it was a blast to do it. We shot it in one day, and it's great. I play one of the sharks, like in Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Like 2 people. So it was great. And then, like I said, things were happening. I'm focusing on my business, and then they call me and say, Alex, they want you to go to Texas. Uh, sure, for what? For this movie called Free Dead or Alive, but they need you tomorrow. And I'm like,
Wow.
what? Yeah, tomorrow. You'll be replacing somebody. I guess something happened. Something
Yeah.
happened, and they wanted me to go the next day. So I took care of things. I had a vaccine scheduled the next day. I needed to get COVID the next day. So in the morning, I'm doing all that. And then in the afternoon, I was flying to Texas.
Wow.
And I was there for a month. We get this, the storm hit really hard. We were in the middle of a shooting when the storm hit Texas. So we didn't have water for a day or two and electricity, but it was great. It was fun. It
That's
was fun
awesome.
to play the bad guy. I played the main. I play a
Yes.
cartel guy, the main cartel bad guy.
I watched the trailer for it. I saw the trailer. You slice the girl's. It was like a girl. You sliced the girl's neck or something like that. You sliced her or something.
No, no, no. I'm not that bad. Not the girl.
But I don't know if it was a girl. You did to somebody. I thought it was a girl. I thought I saw long hair, but
Oh, I think no. That was the main girl, Eddie Ganem. She plays the main character. I think she slashes a bad
oh, I
guy.
think I mean confused. But I did see you in there. Obviously, yeah.
No, in the trailer, I'm the guy who comes out of a van, of a truck, and with a leather jacket, and I talk to the
You're
other
holding a
guys.
gun though on it, right?
No, my character doesn't need to hold a gun. He's just like very powerful.
But he's a badass though.
Yes, yes, he's yeah. It's so interesting because Eddie, the main character, she's like, but you're so nice. How can you play such a bad guy? Like, well, I'm nice because we're talking and I'm talking to a nice person. If I'm talking to somebody that's not nice, of course, my personality is going to change. It's normal. We all have different personalities. So, so I
Well,
play my
it's also acting too. It's nice to play someone that you're not, right? That's the whole point of the job.
yeah. Well, someone that you're not normally, but that doesn't mean that you're not because you still are. Don't mess
Yeah.
with my kids. Don't mess with my sons because
And the real guy's gonna come out.
nice Alex is. It's normal. That's for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, having a nice conversation with you, I'm being nice.
Of course.
Yeah. If I see a bear in front of me, I'm gonna be scared. I'm not gonna be nice. Hey, Mr.
Imagine saying, hey, how's it going? Get eaten off. That's
Wrong.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's so cool though. Yeah, but the movie though, which is really cool, I like because it stars one of the actresses in there, Patricia Velasquez, who was in the Mummy Returns. She plays a Naxuna Moon. First off, I love the Mummy movies, just fantastic movies, and the fact that you got to do a movie with her, that's amazing. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure you love the Mummy too. Like those movies are great, the adventure and stuff. It sucks they don't make movies like that anymore, where it's like fantasy but still serious. But I hope they do more of those because those are awesome.
Yeah, maybe now that we're talking about, maybe I should do more of those.
I don't know,
Except that they're extremely big budget. You
I
know?
could definitely see you. You know what? You're a very nice guy, but I could see you playing that badass like villain in the movies. You know what I mean? Like I can even see you. It's funny. I mentioned James Bond at the beginning of our conversation. How you're the Latino James Bond, but I can see you playing the villain of that. I can see you being the villain.
Oh, you'll see in both of these movies. If you look at even you'll see a glance of it in I think you should leave. I played this, you know, shark, so it's not the nice guy. Um, so yeah, you get to see a little bit. If you watch El Contratista, the contractor, my character is extremely serious.
Yeah.
You see him smile in one scene, but basically he's very straightforward. Very he's a soldier, you know.
Yeah.
So he's very yeah. I don't know if you when you watch the trailer, you can see that it's very
Oh,
serious.
yeah, and even like the way what the story is about, anyways, about like the kid and like his basically you're basically it's a team that works with you, the leader. You're the leader of what's going on, and
Right.
basically it's about you protecting a little boy, essentially. No.
Yeah, yeah. It's a yeah. Something happens to his family. The family they're very rich, and something happens, and we don't know who it is. Everybody thinks always cartel.
You're trying to find out who's good and who's bad. You're trying to figure it out.
Exactly. We're trying to figure out who did it because it's kind of funny because they have a butler, they have a maid, they have a cook. You know, they're not just like a whodunit. You know, one of those
Yeah.
films. So you never know who did it. You know, well, while you're watching the movie, you have no idea
So a little
who.
bit of a plot twist in there, eh? A little bit of suspense, plot twist and
Yeah,
stuff.
and the movie has a couple of messages. Jojo really wanted to send a message, not over the top, but it's there. And one of them is as a soldier. His dad was in Vietnam. He died in Vietnam as a soldier, so he understands that concept of fighting for your country and things like that. So there's a little bit of a message that sometimes we do as soldiers or whatever, we do things for our country,
Yeah.
and sometimes you realize that somebody else is moving the strings, and uh, and you have no control over that.
Yeah.
So my character is a little bit like that when he gets sick and tired of what's going on in
And he wants
Iraq.
to take matters into his own hands.
He's, he's like I'm out of here. I'm done. And that's when he opens a company to protect people, and then that's when he goes to Mexico to protect the little boy.
That's
But
cool.
so there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And the other message is the little boy playing video games all the time after his family dies, and how he basically hides behind those violent video games. So he sends a little bit of a message. Is it right? Is it wrong? He doesn't tell you, so you decide, how much is good and how much is, not so good.
Yeah.
To be
It leaves it
playing.
up to the audience's perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
really
it's the movie. It's interesting because it makes you think a lot all throughout. It's like he doesn't tell you. It's like this. It's like that. Even the end. I don't want to tell you the end, but
no,
it's
don't
like
spoil it. Don't spoil it. I'm gonna watch
right,
it.
right, right. It's very interesting. No, of course I'm not going to spoil it.
Imagine, oh, this is what happens. Like, ah.
No, the end is very interesting. It's not what you normally see in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it was going to be a comedy. Actually, it was like the A Team, and things happened during production, little lucky errors, and then he went with it, and then he created a really nice film,
Wow.
more
That's amazing.
serious,
Yeah, that's
serious.
awesome. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to watch all your films, even again, upcoming ones, Man from Toronto, Free Dead or Alive. I'm even gonna watch the I think you should leave Tim Robinson, in season
Very
two.
short. Very short. It's like I said. There's skits 2, 3, 4 minutes. So this is very, very short.
Yeah, but
Second
still
episode.
it's still amazing things, man. These are great things you're doing. And again, I had a pleasure talking with you today, even just about your being a businessman, about entrepreneurial stuff, life lessons. You're so knowledgeable, and I really had a great time with you. So I want to say thank you so much
It's
for
always more to learn. I mean, there's
yeah,
yeah. I'm a baby when it comes to that knowledge, but I try to continue learning. But
yeah.
thanks for
No problem,
that.
Alex. I appreciate so much for having you on today. And I guess before we end off the show, do you want to just plug in your Instagram where people can find you, and then your IMDb as well?
Yeah, it's the IMDb is obviously Alejandro De
Yeah,
Hoyos, and Instagram is Alejandro De Hoy at Instagram, Hoy. I
perfect.
guess they didn't have the O and the S.
I'm gonna put it in
Uh,
the link down below so people can follow you and check out all your work. But thank you so much, and I really appreciate this conversation today, man.
it was awesome. Let's do this again. Maybe
Absolutely.
after the movie comes out, we can talk about it.
Hey,
The
you know what?
Netflix one.
When it premieres, depending where it is. I would love to come by and to check it out, like the premiere, and hopefully meet you in person.
That'd be awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alex. Well, take care of yourself, man, and we'll chat soon.
Take care.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to At the Box Office on the Up and Adam Show. I'm your host, as always, Luke Smith. And guys, we have a double whammy for you all today of awesomeness. So, one of the best things about this segment is that a lot of times when we get awesome guests, like the one I'll introduce you to here in a second, the co-host or the main host of the Up and Adam Show, and my really good friend Adam Lupus, loves joining me on interviews, and that's always fun when we can do that. So, Adam, thank you as always for joining me.
Yeah, no problem, Luca. Thanks for doing this with me today, and we got a great guest, so we're really excited to introduce him. So yeah,
yeah, man, I'm super excited. So, okay, guys, our guest, give a very warm Up and Adam Show welcome to filmmaker who is actually working on a film right now that is about to come out. That is Mr. Miguel Angel Ferrer. Hopefully, I pronounced your name right. I'm very sorry. I know I'm kind of bad with pronunciations. I'm from Kentucky, so middle of nowhere, pretty much. but Miguel, thank you for being here. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So to kind of dive right into this, your new film, Demonica, go ahead and tell us a little bit about that. Because when I read the premise, I was really intrigued. I haven't really seen anything or heard anything like this before. So if you could just kind of tell our audience, without spoilers or anything, just a general idea of the premise.
Oh, the premise is really about an ex-gang member, an ex-sicaria, who is a sicaria is a hitman or a hit woman, who has to recruit a Jesuit priest in order to help her save her younger sister, not only from the prostitution ring that she fell into, but from the demon that's possessing her body. It's set in one of the most dangerous cities in the world, in Caracas, Venezuela. One of the most beautiful city, but one of the most dangerous cities in the world, and definitely in Latin America. And it's really about these two characters that don't deserve any forgiveness, and how they together find that through sacrifice, through family, through faith in themselves, and in the ability that we all have in order to let go of our guilt and our past in order to move forward and make everyday miracles happen.
That's awesome.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
that's a lot, man. I was like, wow, just taking that all in. That's crazy.
Yeah. That sounds super interesting and like really unique. And it's, especially with when you think of like Hollywood movies nowadays, there's like a lack of originality in Hollywood. I feel like for the most part, it's all remakes and reboots, and there's been some good remakes and reboots. I don't want to just dog those, you know what I mean? But for the most part, they're kind of running out of ideas. So to hear that there's filmmakers who are still making original movies, that's obviously super encouraging to hear. And kind of moving on to the next question, because I kind of got a lot here because I'm just really interested to talk to you about this.
Actually, Luke, before you go on, I was actually going to say,
yeah, bro, what's up?
Yeah, no, Miguel, after hearing the premise of what you told about, I'm getting this weird vibe. Like, it's not weird because it's a great movie, but I kind of got this cool vibe about Carlito's Way coming in my mind about like what you just said. And I was like, just hearing about the kind of story, because I just watched Carlito's Way for the first time. I know it's crazy because it's a classic a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And just the idea of like hitmans and like someone trying to leave that sort of life, like, how you mentioned and everything. It's just cool to hear. And obviously in that movie, he's not Cuban. I think he's I forgot what he is. I think he's Cuban in that movie too, or the Dominican.
I think so. I haven't seen it since the 90s, but yeah.
Yeah.
I've never even seen it before.
Oh, Luke, man.
Yeah, I know.
You're sleeping on
I know.
man. Oh,
I don't
man.
have any excuse. As much as I like movies, I have like no excuse to have
Yeah,
not seen it.
but I do like that idea, and I like how, as I was reading about the premise too, that it is like a psychological thriller. So that aspect is really cool as well.
Yeah, it very much plays like a thriller, and also the expansion, the feature length version of it is very much a thriller, horror infused thriller.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's a big market for that nowadays too. A lot of things
Mhm.
that are coming out, and Luke, I think you can agree as well. A lot of movies coming out, they're well. You mentioned that there's a lack of originality, but I think slowly we're getting back into the groove of things. Like Hollywood's getting back to that groove, so actually kind of introducing more kind of thrillers and like plot twists. You know, even movies like Shutter Island back in 2011, I think came out.
Mhm.
Movies like that
Yeah.
were really cool as well. Psychological thrillers. I love those. They're brain teasers, mind benders, if you will. So that's a great genre, and it's hard to make. So props to you for like getting that type of realm for genre.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Appreciate it. And I actually did find in the last couple of years, I was very much inspired by the horror that has come out in the last couple of years, and the fact that, man, you can use horror as just like sci-fi throughout decades. That you can use horror as a vehicle to tell a story that transcends the genre, that uses the genre in order to tell a specific story, but that it's really, when you come out of it, it's like, that didn't feel like a horror film. I mean, or it leaves you with something. Even something like Get Out or The Orphanage. The Orphanage is a little bit more horror, but you come out of it and you go, wow, what a beautiful, beautiful story. And Get Out, the same thing. What a socially impactful a tale, wrapped within this the genre, wrapped within this vehicle of horror. And I thought that once I landed on the characters and when I was developing the story, those are the kinds of films that I was like, okay, this can happen in this way.
Right.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, as with the questions that you're going to ask me, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's really awesome that you said that, because I'm on the same page with you, because most of my favorite horror movies will take, they'll take like not really like a basic horror premise, but like, they'll have some traditional horror elements in there, and you could classify them as a horror movie, but it's not just strictly that. Like you said, there's elements of drama and thriller, and once you leave the theater, there's all kinds of these horror movies that come out that you watch, and you're scared and it's entertaining for the time being, but then you don't think about it at all once you leave the theater. And I think that the best horror movies, like you said, The Orphanage is like one of my favorites. That's such a great example to use there, because I mean, you're exactly right. Like, that's a really like profound story that sticks with you. You know what I mean? And it's like the horror elements are like an added bonus. It's like an extra treat you get with it.
Even the movie like The Green Knight as well. If you guys crazy. I love speechless, but it's same kind of thing where like I think they're using like a simple idea of medieval, but they're using like different elements now towards the movie.
And then 100%, and stories that you can take off, and this is what I wanted to do with Demonica too, is if you take out the horror element out of it, the story still plays. It still plays. It's still about a sister trying to get some guy to help her find her younger sister, and get her out of this real life horror that she's in, which is something that I wanted to really lean on, the real life horror versus the supernatural horror in the film. And there's also films like that do the opposite, like Jaws and Alien, which are creature features. They're Alien's a funhouse horror film, and then Jaws is a horror creature film. It's just so well done. It's not really about the shark or it's just set in a town where that's being attacked by this monster, but it's really about family and a fish out of water with this deputy. So well done that people forget that it's like a monster movie, so I love that about the horror, and how malleable the horror genre truly is, and how it has such a wide, such a vast spectrum, like sci-fi as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think those are all. I like all those movies that you mentioned too. I mean, they're classics, but I really like them. And then as a film lover, like I almost feel like I have to, but no, they are really great. And another great example of exactly what you're talking about is The Descent. I don't know if you've watched that, but that's such a good movie. Yeah, it's one of my favorites, like movies in general. Yeah, and I mean, one of the coolest things about that movie is that the creatures don't show up until like halfway through the movie.
Right.
And first off, there's nothing cooler than watching it, because I try to get my friends to, if I love a movie, then I'm like, oh, I got to get my friends to watch it. And I won't tell them anything about The Descent, because if you read the description, it doesn't mention creatures or anything. So they're just like, oh, it's just like a thriller. They get lost in the cave. And then halfway through, you're like, what the heck's going on? So seeing that reaction is hilarious. But also, I really love that movie, I guess you could call it a monster movie, but for the most part, it's about like the main character, Sarah, and this tragedy she went through, and how basically how that's affected her life. And it's sad, it's tragic, because she goes on this trip to kind of move on, and then she ends up, spoiler for the movie if anybody hasn't seen it, they end up not making it out. So
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. So I totally agree with that.
And also the monsters within us that play on that film, and how the descent is also the descent into our own madness, into our own darkness, and how those characters start, turning against one another and doing things that they wouldn't otherwise do. Anyways, I can geek out about horror and sci-fi for hours.
So when I was reading about the production of Demonica, something really stood out to me. And you were quoted as saying here, and I'll directly quote what you said. It says, "We put our lives on the line to make this film." And that was really like interesting to hear. And so I knew as soon as I read that, I was like, I got to ask him about the production of this movie. So what did you mean when you said that?
Well, let's just say that, okay, we were going to shoot everything in Venezuela. It's set in Venezuela. It's set in Caracas. We were going to shoot it there, but then the pandemic happened, and we were pretty much locked out of the country. Nobody could go out. Nobody could come in out of Venezuela. And I was in LA, and it was, I think, August of 2020. And I saw myself, I one day I went down the stairs in my house, and I looked at the living room, and I said, I think I can build this hallway here. And I measured it, and I called the producers, and I said, I think I can build a hallway here and do the room in the garage. And if that's a possibility, do you guys want to go ahead and do it? And they're like, yes. And then I told them, well, I would have to then fly down to Venezuela to shoot B-roll, to shoot the exteriors, and to shoot really anything else that we needed. And so we shot the 2 days that we did the film in 2 days inside my house. Vince Sanchez Zambrano built the entire set inside the house, which was a daunting task, but he was up to it. He's a Venezuelan production designer who's amazing, a real gift to this film. And then I flew down to Venezuela. Now, what happens, to answer your question, I have a Venezuelan passport, but it's expired. So I have an American citizen, and I have a Spanish passport as well, but I don't have a Venezuelan passport that is not expired. So if I go into the country, then to come out, I have to have a brand new passport that's not expired. For that process to happen, it could take 4 weeks. It could take 4 months to get. Yeah. And you have to pay a lot of money to do this. It's quoted as the most expensive passport in the world.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the alternative, I couldn't take that risk because I had a couple of other projects in Mexico that I had to shoot. So the alternative was to fly to Bogota, then fly to Cucuta, which is the border town between Colombia and Venezuela, and then cross the border by foot. Like through something called La Trocha, which is a river, pretty much, and like sneak into my own country, into my own country that I was born in. And then the producer picked me up there, Will Romero. He picked me. It was all his idea, by the way. I just said yes. He told me he told me his idea, and I was like, "This is just like Indiana Jones kind of shit,"
It sounds like a movie scene. Whatever you're saying right now.
Yeah, that's what
This sounds
yeah,
like
I mean, this could be a movie, like a documentary about the making of this movie probably would be really entertaining.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
Yeah.
so he picks me up at the border, and then we drive 14 hours. And driving 14 hours from the border of Venezuela to the capital is not like driving 14 hours in Europe or in the States. It's like winding roads, potholes, checkpoints at every hour, because in order to prevent kidnappings and whatnot, they have checkpoints in about every hour and a half of trek. So then the whole time I'm showing my ID, my Venezuelan ID from 1994. So I wish I should have it with me though next time. It's just a 10-year-old kid, a 10-year-old kid, and then guards would look at it and go, "Who the hell's this?" I'm like, "Oh, that's me. It's expired. I'm going to the capital to, get it resolved." And then we got stopped a couple times. We got pulled out of the car a couple times, questioned. And here's the thing: is that if you land with the wrong person, it could be not a nice time. Luckily, we didn't. We were able to talk our way. By we, I mean Will. Our producer was able to talk his way out of a lot of situations. We even had like a military guard, ask us for a he was hitchhiking. He was ask us for a ride, and we're like, "Okay, yeah, we'll give you a ride. Where's your house?" "Oh, in Socopo." That's 4 hours. So he was in the car with us for 4 hours.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we don't know this guy, it's pretty shady. He starts asking us questions, what are we doing there? And we can't really say what we're doing, because it's it could just bring up a lot of red flags for people.
Yeah.
And then going to the capital, shooting it in the favelas, going through military checkpoints in the city. It was pretty it was a wild adventure, and I don't know if I'd do it again, but it was very, very, very well worth it.
Well, before we go on, I wanted to say one thing, that this whole story, there's a common theme for everything, and this is actually great. It's a great thing that we're speaking to you about this, because the theme that I take from this is resilience and ambition, right? That you, despite all the things, that the hardships that happened, you didn't give up. You didn't go like, okay, I guess let's just cut our losses and go home. You guys went on foot. You guys did all that stuff, put your lives on the line to make this film. That shows that that you're really passionate about the film, that you believe in the script and everything. And B, it just shows your character as a person, that no matter, besides the directing and everything, it just shows that whatever hardships happen, especially in this industry, I just started my acting career like a few weeks ago, literally. And nice. I can tell that it's going to be, thanks. I know, I'm pretty excited. So it's going to be one of those things where, in general, to have that ambition and resilience, you need it in life, because there's many people who are going to put you down. There's many people who say that you're bad, that oh, this is no good. But you have to be willing to take those hits. I like to use that kind of quote, right? So
yeah. 100%. And it's really, it's also a testament to Will and to the whole team down there, and really the team here in LA too. It's I like to say it's when a group of people, in this particular case, a group of Latinos and also a group of Venezuelans get together and believe in a dream and say, hey, we're going to do this, no matter what it takes, within reason. Now, here's the thing about me. It's that my within reason is a bit higher than a lot than sometimes than I've come to realize over the last year. Because I'm willing to take a calculated risk in order to have the dream, and my team and the people also in Venezuela that work really, really hard. There's just ridiculous talent down there, ridiculous. I'm not including myself in that that. I don't consider myself particularly talented. I work really, really hard, but there is some really talented artists there, including our producer, Will Romero, who's also a musician. And really everybody that worked down there, the VFX artists. I mean, I'm dying to put a production house down there, and bring work down there for everybody to, to be able to reap the fruits of their labor, of their hard labor that they've done for so many years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of coming off what Adam was saying, and you mentioned a little bit of it too, is that you and your the people working on the movie with you, your crew, you all, you came up with this story idea and you really wanted to tell it as authentically as possible. So it really shows also not only what Adam said, your resilience and wanting to get the film made, but it also shows how much you believe in your story to put yourself at risk like that, So I think that that's also something that's pretty impressive. And aside from all that, like, I'm really glad you made it safe and the movie was made and everything. Obviously, yeah, of course. But also, like, what a heck! I mean, you also have a great story to tell from it too. You know what I mean? Like, that's a pretty insane story. So I mean, that in and of itself, that's like a little added bonus. Obviously, obviously everything else was more important, but like the fact that you made it there safe and the movie was made. But I mean, if you like want to one up somebody when they tell you they had a pretty dangerous encounter, you could be like, yeah, I had to sneak in. I had to sneak into the country I was born in, So I mean,
you know what's also cool too. I just thought of, like, I could just picture Miguel like an old man, like 89 years old, and like telling his great grandchildren, like, back in the day, I snuck into the country barefoot. I had to go, and then the grandchildren, okay, grandpa, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I
By foot. Yeah.
That's
funny.
hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, thank you for that blessing. I really hope that happens.
No, for sure.
I really wanted to talk to you about your inspirations, because first off, this is really awesome for me because as someone who loves movies, and I always try to write a screenplay. Like, I get an idea and I try to write something, and I can't ever really finish it. I guess I'm just lazy. I guess I'm definitely not willing to sneak into a country to do it, so that might be my problem. But yeah, every time I try to write a screenplay, I get to about 13 pages and it just kind of flames out. And I've also wanted to direct, and a friend of mine, we're trying to work on short films and stuff. And so this is my first time talking to like an actual filmmaker, so this is like super awesome to do. And it's really cool because I just, anytime I have a guest on here, no matter if they're like in the field of music or film or whatever they do, sports or anything, I like to talk about their influences, like what or who kind of led them to this point to do what they like, to follow this career path. So, what are some of your influences, or who, maybe?
Wow. Okay. Well, personally, my father wasn't a filmmaker, but he always had a camera in his hand. He's with a Betamax back in the 80s, and then he moved on to digital age. So I have a whole lot of video from my childhood, and they always loved movies. My mom's a dancer, was a dancer. So the arts were always kind of flowing within the household. And I always loved TV and film. Movies changed my life. I remember going into certain movies, a certain man, and then coming out another man, or a boy, or a teenage kid. Movies really did change my life for the better, and I know how powerful they can be. So it's the church I go to, and I, as far as filmmakers, well, as a child, the Spielbergs, the Cameron. Growing up in Venezuela, really what made it down there was really like the big popcorn flare, big popcorn fair, and sometimes I forgot to speak English. Yeah, and Cameron, Spielberg, then obviously the Scorseses, and then when I started becoming more of an adult, more serious films, the period dramas, the historical dramas like Braveheart, Gladiator, but movies that changed my life, for example, obviously Jaws and Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was just, I remember the day I went to see Jurassic Park. I remember the theater. I remember everything of that happened that day. I even remember going back home and We lived in a ninth floor in a building in Caracas, and I was terrified because I thought the velociraptors were going to get the elevator, go up to the ninth floor, open up my apartment door, go in through the hallway, and then eat me alive.
Oh my God.
So I did not.
Golly.
Yeah, so I did not sleep that night. But it was well worth it. I loved it. I love dinosaurs like most kids, like a lot of kids. And another movie, one movie that really impacted me, which is quite random, was Meet Joe Black.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Okay, yeah, Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was in Miami. I used to, in middle school, I used to go to the movies with my mom almost every weekend. And then I see in the newspaper back in the day where you had to actually see the newspaper to see the movie times. And I'm dating myself a little bit here, but it's all good.
We're both old souls, me and Luke. I love it.
Okay, great. So I went to see Starship Troopers. And I'm like, Mom, let's go see Starship Troopers. Oh my God, the aliens. Oh, that's so cool. And then she's like, no, we're going to go see this movie called Meet Joe Black. And I like look through the theater, through the newspaper, and I go, what is this romantic thing? Brad Pitt. I don't want to go see that. You go see me, you go see this, and I go see Starship Troopers. And she was like, no, we're going to go see it. And I was 14. And I went in there. I came out completely changed. Like completely, it took me by, like it hit me like a train, that movie, because it taught me. There's a beautiful story about an omnipotent, omnipresent being that wants to experience what it is to be human, and how we take for granted so many things, including like a spoonful of peanut butter. And I came out of there thinking, man, like, I don't want to take anything for granted. I don't want to take life for granted. I don't want to take all these amazing opportunities that I have here in the States. Like, and I was changed, very much impacted by it. It was a 3-hour poem that told you this is how life really is.
Wow.
So anyways, several films impacted me in different ways, but that one was one that was quite impactful in my life.
Yeah, and even being a kid,
Wow.
it affected you at like being a kid, like it affected you, right? So that's crazy, man. Because when I'm like a kid and I watch movies, even to this day, I'm still an inner kid inside. I'm still young anyways, but it's like,
Oh yeah, I mean, me too. I'm the same way as you do. Like,
yeah, I'll watch
Yeah.
like Spider-Man, and the next day I'm like, I'm going on YouTube how to create webs. Like I'm trying to like figure it out, and
Mhm.
yeah, so I spent a lot of time doing that stuff.
or like, do you remember? Sorry, I didn't mean to
Go ahead.
interrupt or anything. I was just kind of going on what Adam said. Something funny that I do when I watch movies, like as a kid, and I still kind of do it sometimes. It's kind of embarrassing, but like I'll be walking out of the theater. Have you ever like embodied, like tried to, like the way you walked out, like you try to act like the main character of the movie? Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
I did that all the time.
I still do it.
Yeah. Like I watched the first Iron Man.
On the walls like Spider-Man. That's what I'm literally trying to do.
Oh yeah. Like I tried, I watched the first Iron Man when it came out in 2008. So I was literally 8 years old with me and my dad, and Dad was like, "What's funny first to remember going into that movie, like nobody really knew who Iron Man was unless you're like really into comics." And
Right.
Dad was like, "Who the heck's Iron Man?" And I was like, "I don't know, but it'll probably be good." And we loved it. And I was walking out of the theater. I thought, I was like, I'm gonna be like Tony Stark now, which I don't know if that's weird for a kid to do that, but I mean, I did that all the time. Yeah. But,
Yeah. No, 100%, 100%. And you embody the characters. And that's what's amazing, is that the characters, when they're well done, well written, well acted, and the story sticks with you, and you see yourself in that character,
Mhm.
and in some of the traits that the characters have, and you say, I want to do that. I want to be the guy that says at the end, I'm Iron Man. This is who I am.
Mike,
Oh, yeah.
You're accepted, and that's it.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
I don't know if I answered
Absolutely.
your question though, but I just to make it a little faster, because I tend to go back in time to the whole history. I didn't know that it was that filmmaking was a career until I was 19. I didn't actually. I knew that there was directors and producers, but I didn't know that it was something that was reachable. I actually was very much into track and field. Track and field was my life for about 15 years, and in college too. But then once through a longer story, which I'm not going to get into, but it's through fate and chance, pretty much, I got an opportunity to go into a film program that my family would not have been able to afford. And I got a really nice gift from life, and I was able to go to a film school. I discovered that was a career, and once I discovered that, I was like, "This is what I'm going to do the rest of my life."
That's
Like
awesome.
this is because I asked myself, "What's the thing that you would do when you're 90 years old and be happy doing it?" Like filmmaking, telling stories. What's the thing that you would do if you had $1 billion in your bank account? Well, I'll be doing a lot of other stuff, philanthropy, traveling, and all that stuff. But I would still be doing my movies, no doubt, no doubt. This is what I would be doing if I didn't need the money, So I'm very fortunate. I know how fortunate I am to be able to do that for a living,
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the thing too, is that, I don't want to like downplay anything you said at all, because that's really great stuff to hear. I kind of like to relate like what the person I'm like interviewing says to my life, kind of. I don't know if that's like an okay thing to do, but that's just kind of how I interview people. So like what you said, YouTube and stuff isn't my main, the Up and Adam show. That's not my main like career right now. I am going to school right now, but I would just love to get to a point to where it could be, because like you were saying, like you didn't know filmmaking was like you could be like, oh, I could actually like make a living making movies. Like this is a career, until you were 19. Well, in the same kind of boat, right? I didn't really, like really know much about YouTube, or, I mean, I watched some YouTube videos, but, it was just really inspiring, because as I got older, I realized like, oh my gosh, like you can talk about what you love on YouTube, and like people could watch it and you could make money doing it. And that's just such a cool concept for me. So that's kind of what and in Kentucky, especially for where I'm, from Kentucky, there's not a lot of people who are really into like pop culture and entertainment type stuff, so when I was talking, even now when I'm like, hey, have you watched my video yet? Like my family are really supportive, but a lot of them don't even really know what being a YouTuber even is, so that's something that, yeah, see, so they just don't get it, you know what I mean? And that's just, they're very supportive, but yeah, I mean, that's super inspiring what you're talking about. And I love that, you're able to do what you love doing and make that your career. That's such a cool thing.
Yeah. Just so you know, coming from a Latin family, nobody is an artist in my family. Nobody exerted that. Nobody took that as their career, because they say in Spanish, "Te vas a morir de hambre," like you're gonna die starving as an artist.
Yeah.
So when I told them I'm doing film and I'm moving out to LA, I'm like the black sheep of the family. I'm like the crazy person, right? And it's just, I wanted to follow those dreams. So people are not gonna, and even 6-7 years into my career, I've had people in the family and friends just not understand what I do, as a producer, as a director, but you just got to keep going and lay those bricks one by one, and then once you look, you have a wall. And then the next thing you look at, you got 2 walls, and then you got a house, and you built a house, and this house is your career, where you live. So I really encourage you to continue doing that brick by brick, because only you can build that house.
There was before we wrap it up too, there's one thing I was going to say about that, because that's really inspiring. There's a cool picture. I'm sure both of you guys have seen it. It's a very popular picture of a guy mining underground, and he's mining and mining and mining. The top picture is like him going all the way, and then the bottom one is, it's him, mining all the way. The middle one is like him moving, like, quitting, because he's like, oh, I did all this work and there's no reward, but like he's this far off, and like you see all the diamonds and stuff. And then the next one guy just hits it, and then boom. So it's like, the moral of the story is, and like I said, brick by brick, because people think they start something and it's quick. And I think, without getting too deep into it, because it's so long, this topic, but it's like with TikTok and a lot of these apps, they're making it this notion that you can get viral so easy. Yeah.
Right.
My thing is that the longer it takes to get somewhere, the longer it will last. Because you're putting in, again, if you make one TikTok goes viral, think about how much effort went in that TikTok. What, like 20 minutes, whatever? Even if it takes you an hour, but look, now you're famous, right? And guess what? Now the next day you can fall off because there's no stepping stone. It's like you got all the way to the top, and now you can just fall right to the ground again. So it's important to, like, especially with what I'm doing, what Luke's doing, because we're a great team and we work with great people, is that every day we're always trying to collaborate with all these new ideas, try how can we be better, right? So, and then once we get to the top, hopefully, we know that, okay, we got here by doing this. How can we maintain this now? So that's the main thing.
Yeah. And it also gets a little, it can be, that's another thing is that and I'm kind of this way with writing scripts and stuff. I think the reason I kind of flamed out on that is, for one, I don't think I'm as passionate about that as I am making videos, but also I really just think that, like, I'll start to doubt myself, or I'll be like, I don't know how someone's going to feel about this. They might think it's weird, or like with the YouTube video, it's obviously, Adam, and I know you know this too. When we like put a lot of work and effort into a video and it really doesn't do very well, then it's obviously really discouraging. You know what I mean? That can hurt a lot. I know it might seem kind of weird saying that, but I mean, it really does. I mean, especially if you know that you're doing your best, that you're really trying. But that's the thing, is that you can't give up either. And that relates all the way back to what you said about making Demonica, about being resilient and sticking to it. This is great, guys. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Miguel, thank you so much for being here, dude. It was really awesome meeting you and talking to you and getting a perspective, talking to somebody who is actually in the film industry making movies. It's just a lot of fun talking to guys like that. So again, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me. I mean, like I said, we can talk for hours and hours. I feel like I can talk to you guys for hours and hours and hours on end. So
yeah, we should do this again sometime. I think next project.
Oh yeah,
definitely come on. We'd love to, and I can't wait. We can't wait to watch this film, man. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.